another podcast from the view from the bottom. Yeah, we're heading into week 10, not week 14 like it says there, week 10. And it's all very tight, all very exciting in the league. We're going to do our usual thing today. We'll go through all the waiver claims, and then we'll go through all the matchups, make our predictions, and then a cheeky look at the waivers as well. I have a bit of a look at our 4 and 5 teams and see who's going to make it into the playoffs or who has the best chance. It's all very, very exciting. But yeah, first of all, usual thing, let's go through waivers. Rashad White, he's a guy I tipped very, very heavily, bidded on by 4 people. Righty Fish secures the bag with $13 on the bid. I put in 5, Kinch put in 3, Ed put in 2. I think we were just making sure he didn't go cheap there, but he's a great pickup, to be honest. And Mark's already pretty stacked at running back, so maybe we should have added a bit more on there. I'm pretty annoyed with myself for not going harder, but hey ho. I also, because I was backing this guy, Chuba Hubbard, who panned out very, very poorly in the end. But yeah, Chuba, $8 bid. Ed got outbid on $2. I was backing Chuba to come back and take over some of the role, but unfortunately he didn't, and Donta Foreman absolutely shafted me. We'll get onto that in a minute. Skell, the New York Giants defense attracted 5 bids this week, and Skell wins on $6. Mike put in 3, Damien put in 3, Numbnuts put in 2, Connor put in 0. I love this move, Skell. The New York Giants coming back off the bye week. They should be nice and healthy, and they're going to be playing against Houston. That should be just Saquon Barkley running all over them, and the defense just getting sacks and sacks and sacks. So yeah, good pickup. Damien, he gets Dalton Schultz, probably the best tight end that was on waivers, but that's all relative. He's still a tight end and he's still a bag of shit with a $4 bid. Numbnuts gets Cole Kmet, who was also a pretty good tight end, but I mean, you drop Robert Tonyan and he's like the last man standing in Green Bay, but I don't mind it. $4 bid, nice and cheap, outbid Matt Hall on the $0. Jim reaches back into 2017 or whenever Jerick McKinnon was last relevant, or when was he drafted first that year? Dropping Isaiah Likely as well, who's an absolute beast. $3 bid on Jerick McKinnon. I don't see it personally. I just don't see it. Yeah, he's get the pass. I don't know. You can't trust the KC running back, but fair enough. All power to you. Damien drops the Ravens defense finally and adds the Vegas defense. 3 people bid on this, and Damien got the $3 bid in. So he outbid Connor and Mark on $0 bids to get that. Yeah, I was pretty excited about this going against Indy and their rookie QB. It should be like brutal that Max Crosby's going to just go through Ellinger, but I don't know, like with the amount of injuries the Raiders have, are they going to be able to sustain drives? Are they going to be able to score quickly and keep putting the Indy offense out there so they can get more sacks and picks? I don't know. It gets less exciting the more you look at it. I mean, you can even see how decimated they are just from the depth chart there on the right hand side. Like Devontae Adams, Matt Collins, there's no depth behind them at 1 and 2. It's pretty brutal. So yeah, Matt gets Jared Goff. I think this is part of the deny Carnier QB campaign. $2 bid on his own there. Nick gets a kicker. Brett Mayer. Dallas kicker is actually pretty valuable, and a $1 bid to get him. Fair play. I like that. Damien Harris added by Ed. Dropping a defense to do it. Yeah, that's fine. Like, it could swing the other way in New England, but the breeze is going with Ramondre. You never know. They could. You see what happens there. Tennessee Titans defense added by Mark. He had priority over. Well, Damien did a $1 bid but lost out on him. So Damien picking up the Vegas defense meant he didn't get Titans, but that's fine. And Titans are playing against Denver this week. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Jimmy G picked up by Jim. He dropped Aaron Rodgers. I think this is a straight improvement for him over Aaron Rodgers, but also it could be part of the keep QBs away from Carney campaign, which is fine. I don't mind people doing that. There's plenty of options I like on waivers, which I'll go through later on. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. You're bitter. And then there's just some more kickers and stuff added. Matt Prater for Mark, and then Robbie Gold again, $0 bid, outbidding Mark, but yeah, it's just a load of nothing. Other transactions. So Matt drops Gerald Everett and picks up Cade Otton. You're swapping good for good there, I think. Like, you've seen what Gerald Everett's doing without Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in the picture. So yeah, I think it's okay. You're just swapping good for good, especially if what's his face Cameron Brate misses. This guy's gonna be very good, Cade Otton. So yeah, that could be a great move for you. Mikey D adds the New Orleans Saints defense. They're going against Pittsburgh this week. I don't mind it. I think it's one of them ones where the only improvement they've really made, Pittsburgh, is getting TJ Watt back. So yeah, it could basically just mean like the New Orleans offense is worse, which means their defense on the field more. I don't know. It's a good matchup. It's okay. I think it's probably a bit too early to have dropped Naheem Hines though, but whatever. Skell adds Latavius Murray. Good move, Skell. I hope you're not having to start him this week, but yeah, stick him on your bench and see what he does. Getting rid of Van Jefferson, who's a bit of a bum. Numbnuts adds the Rams defense. They're going against Arizona. I would probably move away from them, given the news about their QB, but that's just me. And then Connor adds a kicker. Connor adds Falcons defense. Did you play them last night, Connor? Well, let's a quick look. Looks like you might have done. You did, and they got 2 points. I wouldn't have recommended this as a move, but also, well, would I? Carolina are a bit crap. Did not expect them to win on Thursday Night Football. You know what? Yeah, I would have recommended that move. It sucks it didn't work out for you. Love this by Nick, picking up Jalen Warren. All the noise is Jalen Warren is supposed to do more. We'll see. Then, Nick got Marcus Mariota in as well, who he had a late surge to get a couple of touchdowns. Worked out for you. Fair enough. I don't hate. He would have been on the cusp of a recommendation for me. Well, no, I don't think I would have gone for him if Josh Allen had already been declared out, but that's by the by. Dropping Deion Jackson to do it though, I don't know. And then we had Damien pick up the kicker as well, getting rid of Greg Zuerlein. I don't really care about kickers. Numbnuts put in a tantrum out on the old trade block. Oh, take my players, give me picks. No one giving picks. They're all trash. To be fair, I'd say that. Jeff Wilson is probably worth I don't know. Like, if I had a 4 left, I would give you a 4 for Jeff Wilson. Because I think he's going to take over the main workload in Miami. If I had a 4 left, I'd definitely give you it for Jerry Jeudy. Because, they're not going to stay this bad for this long. And Mecole Hardman is on an absolute tear of form at the minute. Look at his last 3 actual game weeks. Again, if I had a 4, I'd be tossing it your way for Mecole Hardman. But I don't think you want any of my trash bench players, unfortunately. So, yeah. You know what? We're going to have a live... do I give you Kenny Drake for him? I don't think you'd go for it anyway. But... I don't know. If you're already aiming for the playoffs, you probably don't need any of these guys. The only move I'd recommend, and Mark doesn't really do it, but you could possibly if I was Mark, potentially offer. Well, no, because Tony Pollard's a bit too good. I don't even know. Possibly offer a 4 for Mecole, Mark, because your wide receiver 3 has always been a problem. That's just off the top of my head that I remember. Anyway, we'll look at the table real quick. and specifically our 4 and 5 people, because I have a little bit of a analysis of how everyone's looking. So people on 4 and 5, we have Damien on 843 points for, Mark on 976, and Matt on 1045, just outside the playoff spots. And above you guys, you apart from Damien, like Mark and Matt both outscore points for wise the next 3 teams above them, or 4 teams above them, really. So yeah, that's very, very, very soupy. Very soupy is how I would describe it. In terms of the path to the playoffs, like we want 7 and 7 to be in with a shout of those spots, and you need the points for as well. So Damien is very much behind by like about 100 points on average. To like the average people who'll be going for it. So you need to in the next 5 weeks outscore everyone by 20 points, which is pretty hard to do. But you've got a pretty good squad. You've got a nice stack with Kyler Murray and D Hop, which might get firing in the final weeks of the season. The schedule's pretty nice as well. So you got Num, me, potentially without Josh Allen as well. You've got Mike, who okay, I say pretty nice, but you only need 3 wins, right? So Num, me, Mike and Nick are hard, and then Skell to finish the season. That could be absolutely key. Like if you pick up a win this week, if you upset my team next week, which might not be hard to do if Josh Allen's out. Mike and Nick, yep, that's tough. You're probably accepting losses there, but it's more about the points you score than anything. And then yeah, you just have to beat Skell in the final week, and there's a very clear path there. I think the problem will come for you is points for. I don't think you'll get enough to firmly lock in that 6th place spot. For Matt, so Matt is on 1,045 points for. His schedule this week, he's got Nick, then he's got Skell, Ed, Jim, and Mark as the final week. So when you actually look at that, you play 3 people. Sorry, 2 of your mid 3 games. Well, sorry, yeah, 3 games are against people who are above you. So winning those actually drags them down like closer to your record. It's like a 2-game swing basically, and you are absolutely crushing it on the points forefront as well. Like absolutely crushing it. You're very nearly caught up with Nick there on 1,086. So yeah, that it's you. I think 3 wins from that is very easily doable. Like currently, you're looking rough for this week against Nick, but I mean, I don't know, it's 50-50 still. 50-50 is a good enough, and you've got Justin Fields, who is an absolute darling at this point in all the fantasy circles. Yeah, I think Nick, you could knock him off here. Skell, like, I don't know, you just keep Lamar off your team, and yeah, you'll be fine. Ed is winnable game. Jim is definitely a winnable game. So I could see you, especially if you knock Nick off this week, get 4 wins and like be in the playoffs before you even need to beat Mark in the final week. Yeah, it's Matt's definitely gonna drag some people down. Mark has got Kinch, Connor, Jim, Ed, and Matt in the final week. So again, this week it's like take down. You should hopefully not trying to not give away my predictions here, but you should take down Kinch, and then after that you only need to get 3 more wins to be in with a shout, and your points for is very good. So Connor's team's a bit floundering at the minute, but it could return to form. It's a tough game. Jim, he's suffering injury after injury. Ed, beatable. It's kind of I like Matt's team better than yours, mainly because you can't get your 3 good running backs on the field, Mark. So that's kind of where you struggle. But yeah, I think it's like if you beat Kinch this week, you only need to get 2 more wins to be in with a shout. And between Connor, Jim, Ed, and Matt to finish the season, I think there's 2 wins in there. I think you can beat Connor and Jim for sure, and Ed as well. So yeah, we could have 2 guys here on 8 and 6, and very easily we could have Damien on 7 and 7 as well, like competing for the spots. Very finely poised. The interesting part is like Jim appears twice in here, and Kinch appears only once as well. So between Matt and Mark, they could knock Jim out of contention. So yeah, that's another swing game to watch moving forwards. Is like if Jim loses to Matt or Mark, that's probably a sign that and that doesn't happen for like 3 weeks from now, but that's probably a sign that he's out the playoffs. So yeah, that's one to watch moving forwards. But yeah, I think it's very, very interesting. Well, next week we're going to be looking at the top half of the table. So yeah, we'll get into that next week, depending on how it all looks and stuff. But it's by what I wanted to get across with this is by no means over. Like I think anyone could make it. I think Jim beating Matt and Mark could knock them out of contention as well, or make it so it's all 7-7 between those guys, and it all comes down to points for. It's just the possibilities are endless right now. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the matchups and the predictions. Okay, let's go through the matchups this week. So first of all, we have myself versus Mike. I am on 5-4, and Mike is on 7-2. 120 predicted versus 104 predicted. Mike is definitely helped by Deonta Foreman scoring 19 points already, off of 31 carries. 30 fucking 1 carries for 130 yards and a touchdown in last night's game. Younghoe Q misses 2 extra points, which apparently gets you minus points now. That must have been a rule change I missed. Not to cause another drama, but yeah. So Younghoe Q gets me 1 point. So yeah, between the swinging projections there, it's gone from about 50-50 to swinging into Mike's favor. Yeah. So the big story here is Josh Allen. Is he going to play or not? He's missed practice all week. I don't think he'll play personally, but I need him to be declared out so I can put someone else in. It affects Stephon Diggs as well because it's going to be a backup quarterback, but Case Keenum's all right, I guess. Then yeah, it's between that and Younghoe Koo already being shite. The rest of my team's going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do. The good news is Eckler is against the San Francisco defense. Mike Evans has been dodgy all week as well, so he's got rib and ankle, the classic double injury. And also you're relying on Gabe Davis, who is going to be just as hurt by Josh Allen going out as Stephon Diggs. So yeah, it's kind of interesting there. I would probably still think that the Mahomes Juju stack against Jacksonville is very strong, and Eckler against San Fran, it's just going to be dump off city, especially if Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are out. There's no way he doesn't score loads and loads of points. And my running backs are just sadness on the bye week. I've got David Montgomery, who has a very nice matchup against Detroit, but then Brian Robinson against Philadelphia. Yeah, we'll have a look on waivers and see if I can improve that. But yeah, we'll get into that later. Anyway, I'm definitely going to pick Mike to win that one. I think his team has the power between the Mahomes Juju stack and Eckler, and the good performance from Donta already. Next up, we have Matt versus Nick, and this is basically a 50-50 game right now. It's 120 projected to 120 projected. Matt's 4-5. Nick is 6-3. Yeah, this is a very, very tight one. Nick had Marcus Mariota play already, got him 2 touchdowns, a lot of rushing yards as well. Apparently he didn't do anything until very late in the game, and yeah, it was 3 points before that, which would have been a huge swing. But he's put in a decent performance. He's all right for a streamer there. I was probably disparaging him before, but he's done fine there. The big story for me here is, how do you look past Matt's running backs? He's got Kenneth Walker. I know he's giving it the big one right now, but it's Tampa Bay. He's going to get shut down. Fuck off, Matt. He's going to be absolutely fucking awesome, okay? Saquon Barkley against Houston as well. Yeah, it's just two great matchups. Um, Justin Fields against Detroit, yeah, love it. And then the wide receivers, like apart from Pittman, obviously, but AJ Brown, Devontae Adams are absolute beasts. Like you're probably one of the only people who has a wide receiver pairing who can challenge Cup and Jefferson right now. Um, but I think the difference maker for me is going to be the tight end position. Travis Kelsey predicted 15, it's predicted 17. Sorry, I really don't. It's fucking Travis Kelsey, man. And KC come alive at this time of year. Jacksonville are a great matchup for them. I think it's going to be an absolute rout there. So yeah, I think Nick's team has got the power to get this done, even fighting through the shitness that is going to be Jonathan Taylor. I am going to predict Nick to win there off the back of his usual guys. Um, so next up we have Skell versus Ed. Now this is finally poised. Skell is on 5-4. Ed is on 5-4. The projected is 109 points to Ed, 95 points to Skell. Pretty tight projection, to be honest. The story here for me is on Skell's team, Herbert, Justin Herbert. You've been starting him, and how happy have you been with him? To be honest, like the last you have to look back 6 weeks ago when he had a 20-point game. He's not had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams on the field since that time, and it's just been awful to watch and see. But he's your guy, and you drafted him so early. Like, do you have the balls to drop him and pick up someone else? Is it going to cost you a playoff spot? It's tough, man. It's really, really tough. Um, yeah, that's harsh. You've got Aaron Jones, who might not play as well, which means we could, and Michael Carter in a bye week, which means we could be looking at Latavius Murray going in. Yeah, that's that, and also Aaron Jones is the late game, Latavius Murray is the early game. That's a real tough position to be in, Skell. Real, real tough. I'm probably going to go with Ed to win for that reason. I don't. I think outside of Etienne against KC, I think Tyreek Hill does not like 20 points. Like predicted is just fucking stupid. It's properly stupid. Um, there's no way he reaches that. No, well, I say that he probably fucking reaches that now. But yeah, like Tyreek Hill, 20 predicted is insane, and that's why I think it's closer than it looks. But I don't know. Tom Brady to Fournette away in Munich. Yeah, that's nice. Um, and then Kyle Pitts has already let you down because look at that stat line: 2 receptions from 8 targets. My God. Um, yeah, and then I mean the rest of your receivers, Ed. Oh, you know what? I'm talking myself out of it. I kind of want to back Skell now. He's got Tyler Lockett. He's got Amon Ra. Taysom Hill's an absolute wild card. Ugh. No, I'm going to stick with Ed. I think Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Etienne, I think they're too strong. And Tyreek Hill, I don't think he gets 20 points, but I think he does enough. Yeah, with PPR, New Orleans Saints aren't that good on defense. I think Pickens might have a nice little game as well. I also think that the Giants defense is a good streamer, but Dallas defense is better against Green Bay. So yeah, I'm going to go with Ed to win that one. Next up, we have Jim versus Connor. So Connor has already got 12.3 from London, and then he played the Atlanta defense as well. That's not, yeah, I don't know. Like putting London in, T Higgins on a bye. I guess you kind of have to. Yeah, you know what? Fine. I would have played him over. I'd have played him over Bobby Trees, which was your other option. So yeah, fair enough. Here, like, sorry, Connor is 6-3. Jim is 3-6. Connor's predicted 105. Jim 97. Again, this is quite close as well. The things that worry me here are DeAndre Swift. I don't think he's just like he's going to score either 2 points or 30 points. nothing in between. So I don't know why they're bothering predicting 11, because that's just not going to happen. It's going to be 2 points or 30 points. So yeah, that's what DeAndre Swift is right now. Nick Chubb against Miami is a great matchup though. Chris Godwin hasn't scored a touchdown yet this season, and he's not going to finish the season without scoring one. And so, but then the Seattle defense has been absolutely awesome. Their rookie class has been great. So I don't think it'll come this week. Jalen Hurts against Washington, 25 predicted. I don't know if he reaches that. Yeah, I think here, I think Connor's team is going to start a bit of a slide. So I'm going to predict Jim to win. I think Jalen Waddle is going to be good. DK Metcalf is going to be great. Kamara is again, he's the only running back in New Orleans. Between him and Olave, that's just their whole offense. Yeah, the only thing you need to change is get a tight end in for Njoku. I don't know if you've noticed that yet, but yeah, get a tight end for Njoku. And AJ Dillon might become a better start than Damian Pierce if Aaron Jones misses, which I think is probably going to happen. So yeah, I'm going to predict Jim to win that one. Then next up we have Kinch versus Mark. Kinch is on 3 and 6. Mark is on 4 and 5. Already had a couple of players play each on Thursday Night Football. So Tyler Algier, 8 carries for 20 yards, 3 receptions, minus 17 yards. What the fuck happened there? Oh god. The good news is on the other side, Cordarrelle was also not great. Didn't score any touchdowns or anything like that. The bad news for you, Kinch, is Mark's other running back is Christian McCaffrey, and he's predicted 20 points. And I said it was ridiculous that Tyreek Hill was going to get 20 points. I don't think it's ridiculous that Christian McCaffrey does it based on how they used him last time out. The only thing that I don't know if Elijah Mitchell's actually been cleared to play yet or anything, but he might change the pattern there. Derrick Henry, Denver are a better defense than the Chargers right now, so yeah, that is a much better matchup for McCaffrey. You've also got Kirk Cousins in a terrible matchup against Buffalo, so yeah, I think it's tough to look past Mark's team here, but the one thing that I mentioned earlier was wide receiver 3. So where Lazard, McKenzie, you've got Allen Robinson on the bench. It's just behind Amari Cooper. It's not been great. So maybe making a play for Mecole and seeing if he keeps riding that wave of form might be a good move for you. On the other side, Christian Kirk. Yeah, it's going to be a shootout against KC, so that should be good. I would avoid I don't know. It's a tight end. TJ Hawkinson. They used him a lot last week, so maybe worth keeping TJ Hawkinson in. And the Tampa Bay defense as well is a bit of a risky play. I can't remember if he did any bids for defenses or not, but might have been something to look at. Yeah, I think it's going to be Mark who wins this one, but it could change if Kinch makes some moves here, like get a different QB in. As a starting point, we'll have a look at waivers and see if there's anyone worth doing. But yeah, I think Mark is going to win this one. So our last one is Numbnuts versus Damien. Numbnuts is 2 and 7. Needs to run the table to get into the playoffs, and Damien is 4 and 5. Needs 3 wins to be in with a shout, but he also needs to work on his points for. Here we have Geno Smith at QB for Numbnuts and Kyler Murray at QB for Damien. I keep trashing Kyler Murray, but I think with the stat, it's a game time decision. Oh, I missed something here. Oh no. Well, I was gonna say I did like him in the stack with with Hopkins, but if he's not playing that, then it's not the worst thing in the world if you have to go and get someone else to play in at QB. Yeah, running backs wise, Dalvin Cook against Buffalo is an awful matchup, whereas Josh Jacobs has Indianapolis. Now, the Indy defense played very, very well to keep them in the game last week. But if the QB is what it is, that's just, yeah, you've got to fancy Josh Jacobs' chances. The Chicago defense as well, your worry here with Detroit is it becomes a shootout, so then you're just hoping for receivers going down on the one and Jamal running it in basically. Yeah, I like James Conner though. Not against the Rams. It's just tough matchups for you. That's the problem. Then we have DJ Moore. Has already been a bit shit for Damien, but he did pick up the Vegas defense against Indy, which should be a great play on paper. But we'll see what actually happens when they do play. The rest of you guys' teams outside of CeeDee Lamb for numbnuts, yeah, it's just a bit meh. This one is a toss-up on paper. I think I want to back Damien here. Oh, you're playing Kadarius Toney though. Why did I look at that? Oh, for God's sake. No, I'm going to back Damien to win here. I think he's probably got enough power with Josh Jacobs and the Murray D-Hop stack. And I just think the matchups are better compared to Dalvin having to go against Buffalo and yeah, James Conner against the Rams, and yeah, I think that kind of swings it for me. So yeah, I'm gonna back Damien to win this one. Okay, we're going to do a real quick look through available players as I realise I have waffled on quite a lot already. I don't really want to go into QBs as I don't want to tip my hand as to who I like. But the one thing I'll say is the backup for what's his face, Case Keenum. I think he should still be available. Yeah, he is. So like, if Josh Allen goes out as a worst case scenario, I don't mind putting Case Keenum in. But there are other people I like more here. And I'll go through a couple of examples. So like Daniel Jones against Houston. I know Houston are pretty good against the pass, but I think what you get here is Daniel Jones doing some dump offs to oh, there you go, Jim. Get yourself a tight end in. He was a guy I was going to mention as well. Well done. But yeah, Daniel Jones against Houston. You're probably going to get some dump offs to Saquon. Yeah, and you've got Kadarius Toney out of town as well, so I think Wandale probably gets a lot of work. You're hoping as well he does this thing where he scampers around, gets 50, 60 yards on the ground, possibly a touchdown. I think that's quite likely because Houston aren't a very good team. Russell Wilson against Tennessee. Tennessee are bad, so hopefully Tennessee do. Well, hopefully Denver, do a lot better. Sorry, I'm just distracted by Jim asking if it's acceptable. Yes, it is, Jim. That's a guy I was going to mention. Yeah, then we get on to Russell Wilson against Tennessee. Denver, you're hoping they improve as the season goes on. Russell Wilson has done it before. He just needs to sling it. He just needs to get it to Judy and Sutton and let them do the work. So hopefully that can happen for him. Derek Carr against a terrible Indianapolis team. The defense is quite good, but their new head coach, the new head coach there is probably going to be a shit show, isn't it? We don't know what's happening with the GM and all the rest of it. Trevor Lawrence, it should be a shootout against Kansas City. I would back Trevor Lawrence to get a couple of drives done, get the ball to Christian Kirk, possibly get a deep touchdown to him, and if not, possibly they'd love to do the QB sneak at the goal line. So hopefully he gets one of those. So those are 5 guys that I would be acceptable starting. Worst case scenario, I'd hate it, but I would do Jacoby Brissett at Miami. Genuinely, if you just look at what Justin Fields did last week to them, you'd hope that Jacoby Brissett can not necessarily running emulate that, but hopefully he can toss in a few to the tight end. Although it doesn't help that Njoku just got declared out. Anyway, I'd still do it though as a worst case scenario. If you all colluded against me, it's fine. Next up, we have running backs. So Naheem Hines is the one to mention here, and honestly, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna pick him up right in front of you all. Let's get him on. Naheem Hines was the one to mention there. We don't know what the Buffalo backfield is going to look like. Devin Singletary was great down the stretch last year, but then why would they trade for Naheem Hines? I think they bring him in to either split the workload or to be the guy down the stretch, basically. other ones, it's just kind of the same people that we talked about last week. You're just looking for high value backups. So like Denver, we don't really know what's going to happen. So yeah, Chase Edmonds could be okay. I wouldn't bother with Travis Homer. I think Kenneth Walker's just too great. Pacheco, worth slipping on to your roster if you can. Then it's the usual guy. Yeah, you know, like Madison, Elijah Mitchell, Zach Moss. If you've got the spare roster space and you're harboring some trash like fucking Jared Goff, for example, Matt, you have completely fucked it at tight end, by the way. Adding Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett and all the rest of it, fucking hell, mate, get it together. Uh, anyway, yeah, but like, just slip some of these guys on your roster, and like, it sucks, but if an injury happens, you're going to be in the money. So yeah, it's just the same guys I mentioned last week. You could be looking at Madison, Moss, Mitchell, Spiller to a lesser extent. He seems to be the backup behind Eckler now. And then yeah, just after that, it's not really worth looking at. Wide receiver Michael Gallup should probably be on a roster. Can I sneak him onto mine? Yeah, I don't need Terrace Marshall. I'm adding Michael Gallup. Lovely. Yeah, Michael Gallup. So I think the main thing with him is like the snap share was good last week. Target should hopefully go up, and Green Bay defense wise is not great. So yeah, I think Michael Gallup should have been on a roster this entire time. Other people, if you're looking for points, Matt Collins. So Hunter Renfrow out. You've got Darren Waller out as well. Matt Collins is basically the last guy standing in Vegas. So yep, and he's an absolute tank as well, worth picking up. Scotty Miller in Tampa Bay. If Mike Evans misses time, he's an even better play. Zay Jones is Mr. Spot Start. If you need a spot starter, he's your guy. And then after that, there's not really anyone that's worth stashing wide receiver wise. Yeah, you're really digging deep at that point. Potentially Keelan Cole. So he used to play for the Jags, I think, and he had a couple of good games there. They're so like in the shit with their wide receivers and stuff like that, and Darren Waller going out, he might get some play and he might be okay. Tight end. So Jim took the guy that I was going to talk about, Foster Moreau, with Darren Waller going out. Yes, Foster Moreau, absolutely a great play. Everett and Tonyan, great streamers. Get them in. Then you're looking at after that, it's basically rolling the dice. I won't bother with Bryant. Gesicki's fine. Disley or Fant, you're hoping for a touchdown, which could potentially happen. And then yeah, you're just hoping for a touchdown after that. But if you need a streamer, I would probably go with Tonyan, purely because there's no one else in Green Bay now. Everyone else is dead. Defenses. So Pittsburgh Steelers get slightly more interesting now that I know what's his face is back. TJ Watt. He is their sack monster. He'll be getting after Andy Dalton, who cannot move around in the pocket. Worth a look. Worth a look if you are starting like Tampa Bay or something like that. Yeah, you've also got like the Broncos against Tennessee. You could back that's going to be a complete. That's how many games have the Broncos had that have finished like 12-3 or something like that, and that's kind of what you're hoping for if you get them. The Cards, they might be playing against the backup quarterback now. So yeah, get them. They could be a great play as well. And outside of that, I wouldn't. There's no one I really like the look of. Yeah, I would probably be looking in that order, kind of like Pittsburgh Broncos, Cards as defensive plays. Yep, that's a quick wrap up of the wire anyway. Couple of moves live made. We'll review after week 10. We'll have a clear review of the playoff picture, see if anyone else has dropped out of the race. I hope it stays tight. It definitely makes it more interesting, and it also means I'm in with a shout as well. So yeah, best of luck everyone. I'll see you in week 11.